How's it going, folks? YouTube audience, or me, since I'll be watching this later on. See how fat I look. So I thought I would talk about some do's and don'ts, some issues that irritants, especially if you've got a repair business of any kind, whether you're HVAC or plumbing. This really applies to any of the skilled trades. Some do's and don'ts, and any of you that have been in a customer's house can relate to a majority of these. So the first one is a do: get a license. Depending on what state you're in, it's more than likely a requirement, no matter what service field you're in. Get on your Attorney General's website. Usually that'll give you the details on what you have to have in order to operate legally. Get a license. Make sure that you keep it up to date. I think here where I'm at, it's just an annual franchise fee that you pay to keep the business name, and then there's also a contractor's remodeling license. So there's different levels of licensing depending on what kind of work you're going to do. So some work, if you stay within a certain dollar range, you only have to have this license. If you want to do full-scale house builds or development, then you got to have a bond. I think right now it's like a $50,000 bond, and then there's some tests and stuff you got to go through. So just know that up front you need to get a license. Some don'ts: do not lay on a rug in a house full of cats. Word to the wise. Especially if you knock on a customer's door and there are 2 cats in the window looking at you. More than likely they have scented and pissed on every rug in that entire house. So do not lay on a customer's rug. And in my experience, usually the older the customer is, if they've got more than 2 animals, they have likely peed on everything, and that customer, you can be able to smell it when you open the door and walk into the house. It will smell like a urine factory. And I have accidentally during the summer wearing shorts put my knees on a rug to do something, and you can almost feel it absorbing into your skin. It's so nasty and matted with piss from years of nastiness. So if they've got animals, don't get on any rugs. Take you a drop cloth or something, unless you enjoy smell like cat piss. Get insurance. You need to be covered no matter what trade you're in. It's a liability issue for you. Covers your rear end in case something happens. You need to make sure that you have liability insurance, at least liability. Depending on what field you're in, electricians and plumbers, there's some skilled trades, depending on what state you're in, you may have to actually be bonded and insured. So find out from your insurance agents in your area what is required, but make sure you have at least basic liability insurance to cover you. You can do something as simple as a small patch job on a roof, or take your pick. You're putting a faucet in and you hook something up wrong and it starts leaking water everywhere, and you don't find out until the customer calls you a week later and it's soaked half the house. Any of that stuff is a major expense, so make sure you have liability insurance. Don't punt kick a little yapping dog. And you guys probably know what I'm talking about. If you go to a customer's house and they've got one of those little yappers, I don't know, take your pick, any of those little wing breeds. Wiener dogs or Cocker Spaniels, anything smaller than a Cocker Spaniel. Usually those are just little irritating ankle biters. And sometimes you can put your hand down and let the dog get your scent and they'll chill out. But I've had customers I've been going to see for 10 years and their dogs are the same now as they were the first time I arrived. They do nothing but bark the entire time I'm there. And I really just want to punt kick the little shits into the wall. But I don't, so don't do that. You got to find some kind of medium ground when dealing with customers' pets. Be honest. So you're working with a customer, be honest. Your honesty is going to carry your business more than anything else. In my area, there's a lot of customers that will use somebody just because they're honest, show up on time, do what they say they're going to do. Even if they don't like the work that individual's doing, they'll keep using them just because they can rely on them. So make sure you're honest. That will go a long way in advertising. Carries a lot of weight. Don't run over a cat. I personally can't stand cats. And it's challenging to not run over them when you're going in, especially if a customer's got a ton of animals. Cats seem to be worse than dogs. So don't run over any animals when you're leaving a customer's house. Pulling into a customer's house, make sure that the animals are out of the way. Kids, make sure kids are out of the way. Just, my day job, we have a lot of service techs, and they're taught to actually do, there's a sticker on their door to do a walk around their vehicle. That is a good practice to get into, especially if you've got a customer who's got little kids or animals. Make sure you do a walk around your truck. Take the longest route when you leave the customer's house to make sure there's nothing behind you. That is something you don't want to have to deal with, animal or child. And also just to make sure that, somebody didn't pull something in behind you. Kids playing out in the driveway and leave their scooters or something out there. They're not anywhere around that you might run over something. So good practice to walk around your vehicle before you leave. Last dues, get an accountant. need a good accountant. They will help you cover you for tax reasons at the end of the year, help you get your deductions that you need. There's a lot of people that play in this area, so you can get an accountant that plays in the gray area as much as possible and get you all kinds of deductions, but you may get audited every year. Maybe you're all right with that. Or you may want one on the other side of the board that is as honest as they come. They don't even touch the gray area, and you never have to worry about an audit because they're always making sure there's nothing questionable that the IRS would ever question. So, but unless you're really good at that kind of stuff, I would get an accountant. I do have a business degree, and when I started out for the first 5 years, I kept my own. I had an accountant file my business at the end of the year, but I kept up with all my ledger and accounting throughout the year. And about year 4, I quit doing that because there just wasn't enough hours in the day, and I let her handle everything. So make sure you get a good accountant. And then the last one, don't bitch slap a customer. I know that everybody has dealt with one that they literally, it's biting your tongue in half not to want to knock their head off their shoulders. But no matter how difficult a customer is, if nothing else, get a breather, take a breather and walk away. It's not worth it. I'm sure there are stories where it's more than justified based off whatever your circumstances are, but from a business perspective, you want to stay in business, I would avoid that at all costs. And there have been numerous customers over the years that have pushed me to that limit. Well, not really numerous. I probably had maybe 2 or 3 in the 10 plus years I've been in business that literally drove me to that point, and I had to just put everything down and walk away from it. It's not worth it. But don't do that. So those are my do's and don'ts. Like I said, anybody in the service industry can probably relate to these. Because if you're going in and out of customers' houses, dealing with customers on a daily basis, in their homes, guarantee that you've run into some of the issues I just talked about. So, let's see. This week, I am still working a commercial job. Just started a commercial job, adding a break room and an office room. It's about 30 by 15. There's a small office and a large break room that's in all that. Then I yesterday worked on a home inspection repair list. I started recording that one and I didn't get all the way through it. It was the home inspector had called out the hot water heater having to be 18 inches off of the floor in the garage. I've always seen hot water heaters in garage on, at least probably 16 inches high off the ground. I wasn't aware it was a requirement, but this one got called out. And unfortunately, most places I have been, it doesn't matter, well, in my area, regardless of the price of the house, they usually shove the hot water heater in a really small, tight space that is just big enough for the hot water heater. I've had some that in order to get the hot water heater out, you have to pull the door frame out because it won't come out the door. Most of them you don't have to do that, but this one was on the floor. It had a circulating pump. There was just every kind of challenge I could run into, I ran into on that one. I couldn't undo the circulating pump because neither one of the shut-off valves worked, and there was 2 hot water heaters in the house on that circulating pump. So it was just another nightmare. Since the valve wouldn't shut off, it was leaking while I was building the platform. So I recorded the beginning of that, and I may put that at the end of this. But I didn't record the end of it because it was hard enough me getting in that little tight space, much less trying to record and show you what was going on. But basically, I had to extend both the incoming cold water line from the street and the hot water line that feeds the house. The TPS line had to be extended. The drain pan line had to be extended. And the circulating pump had to be extended. They had the circulating pump coming off of the drain for the hot water heater. That's how they were circulating it throughout the house. Quite interesting and relative pain in the butt. So, worked on that one, and then I have the door install video that I've got. I am doing a whole house remodel on that one. So I installed a couple more ceiling fans, installed 3 air conditioner units. She's doing all this work to her house, and she doesn't have central heating in there. Uses gas heaters in the winter, and she did just have 2 small window units, a small house. And now she's got 3 that are blowing. So that one's going to have a kitchen remodel coming. I'll take you with me through that one. It will be interesting because the floor is all over the place. If you watch the video of the door install, that door was installed, and I think the floor dropped almost 1.5 inches from the outside to the inside of the closet. And that kitchen's not going to be any different, so it's going to be fun. I did finish the sunroom project. I delivered the pocket door, and she's going to paint the pocket door, and then I'm going to go back and install the pocket door. So I'll take you back on that one just so you can see the finished product. She's already got it all decorated and everything. But that one's done, and I am in the process of waiting on the POA to approve so I can get the permit to do the one right next door to it. So lots of fun. So busy. Y'all have a good one. Hope you liked the video. Give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. See ya.
Alright folks, so what we are doing is draining a hot water heater. That is a circulator pump. So what it does is it takes the hot water and circulates it through your lines, which somewhat acts like an instant hot water heater because it's constantly circulating it through the hot water lines. You don't have to worry about the water in the hot water lines to get hot because it's constantly circulating. If you don't have one of these, then the water that's in your lines, especially if you got a large house, the water that's in the hot water lines will be, lukewarm or maybe even cold when you turn the spigot on, because you're waiting on water to get from the water tank hot water heater through the lines to your faucet. So that's what that pump's for. So I've keeled both lines, the in and the out. You open this spigot up right here, hook your garden hose to it, run it outside, and drain it off. This is gas. If it was electric, you'd kill the power. You want to make sure you shut your gas and your pilot light off. You don't want this heating up, electric or gas, while you're draining the water, because it'll burn the hot water heater up. So always make sure before you drain your tank, shut your pilot light off, kill your gas, or if it's electric, find your breaker and kill the breaker. This is your TPS, that's your high pressure line. That is going to a drain outside the house. And as you can see down at the bottom, there is an emergency drain pan that is going outside. The other thing you got to do once you open that up is you got it in and out up here. Luckily this one has shutoff valves. Most houses will only have a shutoff valve on your incoming water line. It won't have one for the hot water lines that run through the house. This one luckily does. So I just killed both of them, shut them off, then unscrew them from here. That allows air to flow, which will allow this to suck out. I'm going to let it get just about empty. And we have to build a platform in here to get this tank up at least 18 inches off the ground. So I'm going to put an extension on this. Gas line's got plenty of wiggle room. I bought extension lines for these two, and I didn't buy an extension for this. So we're going to hope that one works, but if I have to run to the parts store, so be it. That's the first phase. Alright, so she's just about done draining. You can still hear it draining. Took the TPS line off, pushed it over the side, pushed the water lines out, took the vent off and bent it over to the side. Made sure the gas line was off. I don't know that it's all the water circulating back through this pump, as these red valves are not shutting all the way off. So I think it's draining the hot water from throughout the house. This orange line should have been, they didn't do it right. That's supposed to be an actual 14, probably a 12.3 really, or 12.2. This is just an extension cord that they've hardwired in. It's not even, it's hardwired to that receptacle over there. But it is also hardwired to these lights in here. So I'm going to cap this off. I've already took it off in the pump. I'm going to cut those lines off just so I can have light in here, because I'm going to need it in order to build the platform over here.